Good morning from Sacred Space. It's the 30th of June 2022. I just thought I'd make a video because I made my, as I called Ishla Habibi, my semi-hysterical video the other day about defying death, right? And I have lived in defiance of both life and death firmly clutched in each hand since before I was even born. So there is that. So I get a little bit hyperbolic and creative and spiritual because those things keep me going, right? Say hello, Charlie. Say hello to people. Hello, people. Say hello, kissy kissy. Wants to know what I'm doing. So anyway, I made that video, and I had also on Friday performed what I call a supernatural feat, which was cleaning my entire room of black mould and dust, because I realised I'm not going to get better while I'm breathing all that rubbish in, so even though it nearly killed me to do so, I managed it somehow with the help, as I said in that video, of the Tuvan throat singing music and the Norse music. So today, after invoking all the gods to help me get better, because I'm sick of being chronically ill, and I was really genuinely, authentically starting to feel like I was going to die, I went to see my doctor yesterday for the first time in a year and a half. And she even commented, "I haven't seen you for a year and a half." And I said, "Nope." I said, "I've been staying away from all doctors because I don't agree with what's going on with this COVID epoch. And it's utterly terrifying. And I'm staying away from most people, and that's why I haven't caught COVID." So she nodded. She said, "Are you vaccinated?" I said, "No." I said, "The last vaccine I had blew out my liver and my gallbladder. I blame it on that." I said, "So I will not be participating in any more vaccine programs." She said, she looked quite horrified naturally, She said, have you had the flu shot?" I said, "No, doctor, I haven't had the flu shot for about 8 years because every time I had it, I became violently ill. And they keep saying you can't get the flu from the flu shot because it's a dead virus." Well, my body begs to differ. So I said, especially now when there is a global promotion of vaccines that I don't feel good about, I said, I won't be having that. I said, "But having said that, doctor, if I contract COVID, I will most certainly die because I feel so dreadful already with my asthma at the best of times. It was the best of times and the worst of times, a tale of two cities." But anyway, I digress. So she looked me in the face and she said, "If you get COVID, you have to ring me immediately and I will organise antiviral drugs for you." Which, as my friend Lynn pointed out yesterday, is also weird because when we were growing up as children, whenever we had a virus and felt unwell, we would go to the doctor and the doctor would say, "It's just a virus, you've just got to weather it out till it leaves your body and leaves your system," right? Bit of fluff on my nose. My new spinning spindle arrived today, so I now have 2 spindles. I won't be going crazy collecting a whole assortment of them, but they are lovely. They're hand carved and handmade and put together, and they're beautiful. So I have I'm digressing, aren't I? So I have the beautiful spindle bought for me, gifted to me by Belinda, that sits in a bowl and you spin the wool that way. And now I have a top wool spindle. So I'm excited about that. I'll have to get busy practicing because I still don't know how to do it, but I have 2 spindles, go figure. Tanya logic. Dying Tanya logic, wanting to, be as creative as possible in every aspect of my life in case I die, and I want to leave a bit of a legacy behind, apart from my 2 adult daughters, of course. I mean, they are my greatest legacy, but I want to leave little mementos or souvenirs or things that I can say that I take personal pride in having accomplished in my own small, insignificant, hobbit humanoid ways. So there is that. Anyway, where was I? Oh, my mind's everywhere. I'm probably still a bit hypomanic because I've been off the prednisone now for a few days, but it'll probably take a while for it to all flush out and come into some kind of equilibrium again. I was sent completely bonkers with that. It was actually quite amazing. Anyway, the spirits and the ancestors that love me and the gods stepped in, and as I said, I've been to the doctor. So anyway, she promised to try to protect me if I get COVID. And I said, that's good, doctor, because even though I'm an anti-government spokesperson, dissident, whistleblower, and I writhe with livid fury to the point I nearly blow up my own liver, I said the truth remains the truth no matter what, and I still have a basic human right to access medical treatment in the event that I get, COVID. Try not to roll my eyes because I don't know how true to their word the medical establishment really will be. I told her quite pointedly that I don't feel good about accessing any of the hospitals now because every time I've been there there's been some horrific systemic abuse and I've had to go to war, and frankly I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting. People who are well educated represent la creme de la creme of Australian society, who are meant to serve and heal the population but actually turn on you like rabid dogs. I said to her, I'm sick to death of sadists, which I am. It's probably partly why I'm dying, quite frankly, because I can't take any more. Anyway, she looked me in the face and nodded. She knows, they know, I have been very outspoken about every aspect of my life and what I have survived and what I've had to fight and deal with on a daily basis because I was entrenched in poverty and marginalisation by abusers. And here is the truth yet again, in a weird kind of backhanded, as a Native American have the Heyoka. The Heyoka who represents, the clown of the community, who also happens to be the truth teller, but presents things in such a back to front, upside down, nonsensical fashion that, it's painful for the Heyoka person. Their life is not ordinary. And while I would not claim to be a Heyoka because I'm a white Australian, New Zealand Australian Jewish woman, the shamanic journey is really like that. You are chosen and often targeted to be the spokesperson or to shine by example. And I have been gifted time. I'm time rich. Finances poor but time rich, to express my truths and my ideas and my values and my integrity via the miracle and the majesty and the sometimes capricious mischief that is the internet. So my doctor, who I've not really had much faith in because she's very young and I think a little bit on the spectrum, quite frankly. Not that I'm not casting aspersions on autism, but sometimes autistic people have difficulty connecting emotionally to other humans, and I get it. As a complex PTSD survivor, I'm now having difficulty connecting to other humans. That might have kicked in after my last near-death experience. I definitely brought something back with me that was dark and heavy and determined for me to survive against all odds, because I was extremely ill in the last 3 years. More than 3 years, most of my life really, but the last 3 years have been a bit harrowing, learning to navigate life without a gallbladder. So, as I pointed out to my doctor, that vaccine knocked that out. I'm quite convinced of it. She just stared at me. The truth remains the truth, no matter how many ways you dissect it and pull it apart. At the bottom of it is always the truth. And as I stated in my death-defying video, the truth is something I will be taking with me when I enter paradise, heaven, the next dimension, Valhalla, wherever the gods decide to send me. I mean, I don't know. I'm only a mere mortal. I don't know what's decreed for me yet. I did put prayers out because for some very strange reason, the closest I come to feeling that I'm going to die, the more I cleave to life. It must be a deep, profound human programming in our psyche that we fight even harder for life. And it worries me in a way. It worries me in a way because, the Buddhists and other spiritual practitioners say that to have a peaceful, easy, sweet, gentle death, one must detach from one's physicality and from one's possessions and loved ones and friends, family, associates, and just be in a state of complete detachment. And I did witness that when my cousin Kay passed away some years ago. I did witness her go completely within and become completely detached. And she would just sit, obviously she was on chemo and feeling dreadful anyway, but she would just sit and just be in this kind of, what looked to me like almost a euphoric state, right? She'd be just kind of like, and I observed that, and I wondered about that, because I've been at the bedside or assisted quite a few people in my life in the dying process, not by choice. No one wants to be living in that, in that vortex of hell, but, death is a natural process and comes to us all eventually. So, and I have seen the transition from fighting to stay alive with every cell of every atom of every core part of the human body to, when the end does come, this kind of acceptance. Except in the case of my father-in-law, Herschel Ahrens. He, I'm told, because I wasn't with him at his end, he fought every inch of every scrap right at the end, and both his brother John and his son Bill were actually quite traumatised. They said he had a very difficult death. So that is the value of what happens when you hold on against even the will of the gods, and I suppose against one's own better judgment, right? But I'm strong, and I'm 57, and I've had a very, very traumatic, difficult life. But I realised on Friday, when I summoned up the strength to clean the walls of my bedroom, when I was barely able to breathe or walk or function, that I am indeed extremely powerful as a human being. And so therefore, I often quip, I can do anything, and I sort of say it glibly as almost a throwaway line or a half joke. And I'm not going to do that anymore when I say that, because I've discovered in a crisis, at my weakest point, I can do anything. And it's incredibly amazing and awe-inspiring, if only to me. So this afternoon I'm going to trot along to the Greenslopes private hospital because I have a pension card they will bulk bill me. I've chosen Greenslopes private hospital to go to for my chest x-ray because I need to find out what's going on while my lungs are so deteriorated and dilapidated, and it's been over a year now, and 10 months it's been, and I've been really struggling, and I know I did an industrial injury when I got some ceramic dust, and later on, 2 months later, some PowerShell dust in my lungs. So I worry that it actually has turned cancerous or has blocked aspects of my lung function. And bearing in mind that I already have suffered for decades now with obstructive sleep apnea, so I need to keep on top of the lung situation. Really need to keep right on top of it. So I chose that hospital because that particular hospital deals with mainly veterans of wars. I think originally it was set up for Vietnam vets, or at least by and large, the majority of patients that go there are Vietnam vets. And of course it would also service veterans from more current modern wars. And I have found that on the few occasions that I was sent there for testing for various things, that they were much kinder and more respectful and more considerate and compassionate of me with my complex trauma issues, because most of those, veterans of wars also have PTSD in varying forms and varying degrees. So I thought this morning, I don't want to go to those other two Brisbane hospitals on the south side. You know who you are. Where they treat me like some kind of bush pig and are so utterly disrespectful and downright sadistic. I will go to the hospital that is experienced in treating people with PTSD. And look, honestly, it's just a chest x-ray. It's just to take off your shirt, slam your chest up against the thing, click, click, 2 minutes, you're out. So how bad can it be? It won't be bad. It won't be bad. I have every faith in that hospital. And that's a huge compliment coming from me, by the way. Huge. So I'll be doing that. I'll be having my little chest x-ray. And I'll be finishing off my antibiotics I started last night. I don't know if they will help because they were only penicillin, but she couldn't give me anything stronger because of my reflux and my bowel issues. And even she said, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, Tanya. It's like, it is ridiculous. It's like I have so many medical ailments that counteract each other that I don't even know how the hell I'm still alive, quite frankly. It's insane, all of it. But here we are. I was going to comment and grumble to you in YouTube and Facebook world about the miserable rainy day we're having, but the sun's come out. It's quite lovely. So I'm sitting here now instead of in the morose misery of, showery rainfall and grey skies. to the most brilliant sun. Isn't that lovely, Charlie? I put you outside in trepidation, thinking it was going to rain and be awful out here. And look what the gods have manifested for us today. Isn't that lovely? She says, yes, Mama T, we're very blessed. So, anyway, we're on the pathway to healing, but by the gods did I invest a lot of psychic energy into my own body, mind and spirit, and made offerings to all the spirits and asked for healing. So I'm grateful and appreciative that my prayers were indeed received and heard, even to the point of blessing us with sunshine on a wintry day. I had a debrief with my psychiatrist yesterday, and I told him that I felt that I'm dying and that I'm indeed very, very ill physically. And then, of course, I told him it's my duty as his patient to report honestly that I'd had a terrible maniacal reaction to the prednisone. And he said to me, don't have it anymore, it's terrible stuff. He said it even sent my father completely stark raving mad when he was on it. I said, but the problem is, doctor, it's that or I don't breathe. So, madness, breathing, madness, breathing. To stay alive, I keep choosing breathing, right? Even though I've never been very good at it, quite frankly. Oh my goodness. So, he gifted me a profound insight, which was that he said to me, no matter what, no matter how life-threatening and how precarious and dangerous it is and has been for me, he said, you always maintain and treasure your integrity. And he said, and you can be very proud of that. So I found that quite comforting and uplifting, actually. I said to him, well, I've been fighting against this COVID epoch now for 2.5 years, fighting against all my other abusers for as long as I've been alive. And I said, I'm done. But yet my spirit still seems to feel called to carry on fighting and writing and creating, spinning wool with my little spindles and all my other little creative outlets like making jewellery, and I've kept myself very busy and very contained and as safe as I possibly can be, even though I live a very isolated, lonely lifestyle, as I pointed out to my psychiatrist yesterday. It was funny how the confluence of timing happened, actually. My appointment with him was at 4, and I had managed to get an appointment with my GP at 4:30. So I literally drove to the local shops where my doctors are, clinic is, sat in the car, debriefed with my psych, and then went to my doctor and managed to do both accomplishments in perfect flow and timing, right? Clever Mama T. Can't remember what I was saying. Anyway, my psychiatrist is very proud of me, and I'm proud of me. And I honestly don't know what the future holds. Of course, I have a contract with the gods, a self-proclaimed contract that I made. One of the last near-death experiences, I think it was a suicide attempt, or it might have been after the gallbladder operation. I actually said to the angels and the spirits, I said, if you're going to keep me on planet Earth against my will, would you at least bless me with the things I most desire, which is true love, happiness and peace, and prosperity if I can manage it. And I can see the thread from 2019 on. My health is woeful, really fucking woeful right now. But I'm healing. And even though I have been extremely ill, especially in recent weeks, I managed to make 2 beautiful pendants, probably on some kind of cortisol high, as my psychiatrist described it, raging against the machine and against my own decimating, declining body. I made the most beautiful pendants, which is proof that I can do anything. And I'm seeing I still haven't found true love, but I've been doing the self-hypnosis tapes. Not lately because I've been too ill. I just shelved it for a while, but I was doing them, and I had much younger men in their 40s popping out left, right, and centre in the space of a few weeks, wanting to befriend me, which was sweet. But of course, I blocked them. I wasn't overly warm and engaging. So I still have work to do on that, on being able to open up and trust and invite someone romantically into my life. Because of my trauma issues, I have severe blockages there now. And that's okay. That keeps me relatively safe. It also keeps me isolated and alone, but it's a price that's worth paying rather than inviting another strangler or rapist or asshole into my life. And I need to stop doing that. And I have stopped doing it. I haven't invited anyone into my life for since 2014 was the last man I fell in love with. I mean, I've met a few fellows since then, but I haven't engaged with them, and I haven't attempted to date them or go out with them or have casual sex of any kind. I've been completely asexual and celibate to keep myself safe. So I have this sweet little idealistic romantic fantasy that I'm going to open up to love again and, be a fully functioning, sexual, warm, loving, affectionate, adult woman again. The most dangerous, risk-taking enterprise that I personally can venture into. So there is that. But I'm taking great delight in my true friends, and I explained to my psychiatrist that I only really see one good friend now, my friend Lynn, on a regular basis. Everyone else has drifted away through various issues, like they're working hard or they're not coping with the modern day stressors with our COVID epoch, or it's just reached the end of that season, So no judgment, and I'm trying not to be sad or bitter about it. It is what it is. And I take great delight in the few humans that still love me and care about me and strive to keep me alive, like my psychiatrist and my young GP that we have not always had a good rapport. But she did the right things by me yesterday, and I'm satisfied with that. I think she finds me quite intimidating and confronting and wild, quite frankly, but it's okay. I only go and see her when I really need medications, we don't have to be friends. She just needs to be my doctor and do her job, and I need to be conscious of trying not to be too heavy But, you know, the hypomania sends my brain into all sorts of weird tangential directions. It's actually quite frightening, even for me on some level. And I'm grateful for my little bird that is under the table, sitting on my foot. And I'm grateful for my dog. And yes, I'm grateful for the assistance I'm being given. And on that note, good morning, have a beautiful, blessed day, and I just wanted you to know that I am fighting to heal and get better and have more time on this planet to co-create lovely things and maybe have all my dreams, prayers, wishes and hopes come true. Although darkly, hope was the last gift unleashed from Pandora's box. See, I had to go there. I had to remind myself that nothing is always as it seems. But I have always advocated and fought for truth and hope and natural justice gifted by the gods. So there is that. Have a beautiful day. Live your life in joy and beauty and the truest, deepest loves, however you can manifest it. And yes, be peaceful and be confident and be true. Goodbye for now. Sacred Space, Titania's Realm, Tanya Aarons.